also record for those who are unable to attend this event. We'll distribute this after the fact to everyone who's unable to attend, but we appreciate everyone for joining us today. We'll give it just maybe 30 more seconds before we kick it off, just for our folks that are coming in right last minute.
So Katie, hope all is good with you. Great to work with you on the pitching thing. Hope all is good with you. There she is. And I call her exactly the wrong moment because it's lunchtime over there, isn't it?
It is lunch, so I'm eating my lunch. That's why I have it off.
Don't you
Videos off.
Don't
Save people.
What are you having for lunch, Katie?
I'm having a salad.
What kind of salad is it?
Chicken, fried chicken salad.
Do you know what? I love that. Only in Arkansas do you get to say the word fried chicken and salad.
And a salad.
I love that. It's healthy. It's fried chicken, but it's healthy because it's
healthy and it's comforting, all in one little bowl. It's amazing.
It's like people who wear jackets and jeans. You know, it's like I'm sophisticated, but I'm also hip and young. You know? It's like I'm getting confused. What message are you sending out here? So welcome.
And I do that all the time.
Exactly. Richard Nevels, I like you already. Richard Nevels.
Well, thank you very much.
Is that a cowboy hat?
It is a cowboy hat.
So
Mr. Nevels is a real life cowboy.
So Richard, as you can probably tell from my background, I'm Indian. So I've literally, if you present alongside me, it literally be the cowboy and the Indian presenting. So I like.
There you go.
Richard, so we do that. And welcome, Marina, a good friend of mine from Nova Scotia. Welcome. And of course, Brett Amorine. Where would we be without Brett Amorine? Not in Arkansas and not running a startup. That's where we. Taylor Hasley, welcome aboard. Amira Amizera, welcome, Amizera. Angela Grayson, always delighted to have you join us. Always good to have you in our presence. So thank you very much for joining us. I to mentor alongside you, and that was fantastic.
Morgan, if you'll operate the gate for us, play bouncer, I'm going to go ahead and jump us into this segment here. Again, thank you everybody for signing up and for participating today. We thank you for being here. For those that are taking time out of their lunch hour to participate in this. My name is Caleb Talley. I'm the Director of Marketing and Events at Startup Junkie. For those of you who are not familiar with Startup Junkie, we are a mission-driven organization based in Northwest Arkansas that exists to empower innovators and entrepreneurs. And we do that through no-cost one-on-one consulting, as well as events, workshops, programs just like this one here that you're in today. Today, we're excited to have with us Permjot Valia. Permjot is an economist by background and founder and CEO of MentorCamp. He's been actively involved in the startup community in Northwest Arkansas for the last decade, originally from London and now living in Nova Scotia. Permjot has invested in over 50 startups from around the world, including many from Northwest Arkansas. And he's told me not to go into too much detail or go too long on his intro. So without further ado, I'm just going to give it over to you, Permjot.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you so much. Great to see all of you. If you can turn your cameras on, that's awesome. I get my energy. I know Katie is having a fried chicken salad, which we agreed was a very Arkansan vocab thing. Fried chicken and salad in the same word. You won't get to hear it many other places. But if you can have your cameras on, I appreciate not everybody can, but that would be awesome if you could. It just helps me. Thank you, Mackenzie. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Mackenzie. Appreciate that very much. I actually get my energy from the people I'm presenting to and getting reactions from you. Because I used to be a comedian, and this reminds me of my comedy days when, I'd stand up and nobody would laugh. And it's very similar to those days where you just, at least you knew then you weren't being funny, whereas now you crack a joke and no one laughs. First things first, as you can tell from my accent, I'm not from Fayetteville. I'm actually from Rogers. Well, boom. For those of you in Northwest Arkansas, that joke landed. From those of you from Marina, Rogers is a small town just outside of Fayetteville. So that's the joke works. Doesn't matter where you go, it works. And we're joined by lots of people here, which is great. Taylor, thank you very much for turning your camera on as well. So I'm going to talk to you about pitching. And one of the things is I'm going to break this down into 3 quick things. Okay, first we're going to talk about language, then we're going to talk about the art of pitching, and then we're going to actually do this for real. Okay, because what I like to do is do this for real, because pitching, unlike other things you learn about, is a skill rather than a theoretical thing that you can work on. I did a workshop last week that Marina was on, and I talked about learning, about how we can learn to unlearn, and how unlearning is a really critical skill for the future. But that was very much a practical thing, very much theoretical. This is all practical based. First things first, Richard, can you hear me okay? Is my voice okay? Am I talking too fast, too loud? Just give me a thumbs up if it all is good. Thumbs up. Fabulous, fabulous. I've never presented to a cowboy before, so I'm really excited about that. Really excited. Seriously, it's awesome. Just love it. Just love this. Right. First things, when you are pitching, you got to ask yourself, who is the audience and what is your objective? What is your objective in doing a pitch? Your pitch objective should be to agitate. By agitate, there's a difference between irritating and agitating. Agitating is to induce change. Try and get people to do something different. What is it you want them to do? Do you want them to join your company? Do you want them to buy your product? Do you want them to invest in your business? So think about a pitch as what is it that I'm trying to get them to do? So that's the very first thing. What is the audience? Why am I doing this pitch? Is this the most effective way for me to do this? The second thing you then have to do is really think through the language. So what's really interesting about language is people don't think enough about language. They just don't. And if you think about the language you're using, are you using jargon or are you using words that everybody can understand? Because we often use jargon as a way of hiding our insecurities. There's lots of work being done about competence versus confidence, and there's lots and lots of data which shows that men tend to get hired on the basis of the confidence they project, women tend to get hired on the competence they project. Now, one of the great ways to calibrate whether it's confidence or competence is to ask somebody to explain something to you. Now, if you can explain what you do in a way that a 6-year-old could understand it, that demonstrates huge competence. Whereas if you just use lots of jargon, it's often a way of hiding your own kind of insecurities about, I don't quite understand it, but if I use the word Bitcoin, if I use the word cryptocurrency, I hope nobody here is a cryptocurrency entrepreneur, is there? How do you spot a CrossFit or a vegan? A CrossFit trainer or a vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you very soon. So that's the thing about cryptocurrency traders. I hope I haven't upset any of the cryptocurrency or the vegans. Love vegans. I do love vegans. Fried chicken salad is probably my preference for a meal. So language, think very carefully about the language you're using. Is the language going to resonate? Is it going to land? Is the language going to land with the people you're speaking to? And a lot of people get carried away with this technical thing. Now, Angela, I think from memory, you're a lawyer. I believe Angela Grayson is a lawyer. Lawyers do this all the time. They always, how can I take simple language and turn it into very complicated language? Well, that's because actually what you're trying to do is be very, very specific with it, I was hoping that I asked Angela the question, are you a lawyer? And I think the answer should have been, it depends, which is the standard.
The answer is certainly yes.
Fabulous. Great to have a lawyer say yes. You don't get to hear that. And your next question for $1,000 is. So thank you very much, Angela. Thank you. I've had the great pleasure of mentoring alongside you, and it's just awesome to have you join this call. Thank you. So think about the language you're using. Think about how specific the language is and how relevant it is to your audience. Will the audience understand this? Do you want your audience to understand this? And use language that is motivational and aspirational and actually gets them on board. So use language that gets them on board. Then, because I really want to focus on actually doing this for real, then the next thing I want to talk about is the art of storytelling. So one of the presentations I did for Arkansas, and I'm doing it again, if you're interested, we can post details in Startup Junkie. You can send all your members for free. I'll send you the details of it. we're doing this workshop on the art of storytelling. One of the things I learned was I love Pixar movies. Love Pixar movies. Who doesn't enjoy a good Pixar movie? And the thing I learned watching Pixar movies was how much the storytelling methodology they use works for pitching. It actually works as a very persuasive argument, and it was really interesting. And I only did this late last year, really focused on the storytelling. That a good pitch is a story. A story isn't the same as, and I see a lot of pitches that do this. Let me introduce you to Susan. Susan is 35. Susan wants to have a nice healthy lunch, but Susan also likes fried chicken. What can she do? She can have a fried chicken salad, that kind of thing. You know, that's not interesting. And people always tell these stories, but that's not a story. A story is far more. Grab my attention. Why is it relevant to me? What is my job here? What is my job as an audience member? Let me know my job. What are the truths in this story? What is the difficulty to resolve? These are the Pixar formula. What is the difficulty that has to be resolved? How does the hero or the heroine, how do they overcome these obstacles? How do they have a resolution and then re-resolve to solve the problem once they've overcome obstacles? And how does it all come together, and what does it make me feel like at the end? And that is a great story, and you'll see, hopefully, from that Pixar formula, that is also the formula for a great pitch, okay? Interesting enough, when we buy something, the psychological process we go through is called AIDCA, which is attention, interest, desire, credibility, action. That is the process we actually go through. Something grabs our attention. Tell me about the problem that you are trying to solve. Tell me about something. Tell me about the market you're tackling. Tell me something interesting that grabs my attention straight away. Doing a pitch is very much like being a stand-up comedian. Your first line has to land. Whereas like in Arkansas, if I told a joke, so there are a few people from London on the call. If I did a joke in Arkansas, which is, you know, when you catch a bus, and people in Arkansas, why would you ever catch a bus? Why would you do that? Whereas if I told a joke to Londoners and said, you know, when you go to a Tim Hortons coffee shop, and they're like, what's a Tim Hortons coffee shop? Why would this be funny? So they don't understand, because the first line doesn't get them excited. So you've got to think about first line, grab everybody in. And just like every 30 seconds, you're going to lose half your audience. So make the first 30 seconds count. So how am I grab their attention? So let's just begin for real. Who wants to do a pitch? Who would like to do a pitch? Richard, I'm looking at you. I just want to hear more of that cowboy. I just want to hear it. So Richard, what is your pitch?
Well, you want me to try on my pitch?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. All right. So, hi, I'm Richard Nevels. I'm the founder of Blade Solution and inventor of the Revo 6. Did you know that since the invention of the first lawnmower in 1830, we've been mowing with metal blades? But today, for an investment of $250,000, you can become part of the first alternative to that limitation by joining the Blade Solution revolution. The problem is pretty simple. It's metal blades. They're very unforgiving when they come in contact with stationary objects and or users. They cause damage to the equipment, and they can cause injury or even death to the users. There are 80,000.
Good. So Richard, I want to stop you there.
Yep.
So your objective is to get me to invest in your business, right? That's the objective. So what you've done is you started the pitch, and I'm really glad you went first, and you'll get the most out of it. So I hope you don't mind my criticism. I hope I have permission. Permission to criticize to help build up a great pitch. So what Richard did was Richard started with the sales, and he said, for $250,000, you can join. Actually, you might switch people off at this stage, because straight away you put the ask in, although you have told the audience what the job is. What you might want to do, Richard, is lead with every year, 8,000 people are killed through the metal blades and the steel blades in lawnmowers. Currently in the US alone, there are X number of lawnmowers being used, all fitted with metal blades. So why do we use these lethal, death-inducing metal blades. And then you've got to pause, because there has not been an alternative to this point. Now, with the revolution, there is an alternative. And what I'm looking for is investors who want to make lawn mowing safe, healthy, and, you know, da 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 da. Do you see what I'm getting at, Richard?
Yep.
And I didn't and then you can always tell me afterwards when I'm interested that my name is Richard, I'm this, I'm this. The other thing, 2 golden rules I have: never begin a presentation with the word so, and never ask the audience a question, because when you ask them a question like you did, Richard, you are ceding control. This is your moment, Richard. You own the stage. Make it count. So get me involved, get me excited, get me really buzzing about the attention. The problem: people are dying. I don't want to join a revolution with $250,000. I want to save lives. And if I can save lives, I know that your product will probably, once your product is proved to be safe, there'll be some lobbying in place. There'll be all kinds of stuff that you will do, which will make the product safer and better. How does that sound, Richard?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So just because you've only got 30 seconds to grab them. And if I think it's a sales pitch, I might switch off. Whereas actually it's a pitch to help me save lives. Okay, people will listen to that. All right, so that's a really good example of that. And a big, big welcome to Amrit, my niece, who is calling in from the United Kingdom. I think, Amrit, this is the first time a member of my family has ever attended one of my workshops. So that is great. I think you're actually the first member of the family to know what I do, because I've actually hidden what I do. Because I convinced her mum, this is actually a true story, I've convinced her mum that I fix roofs in Canada, which, given my propensity to do DIY, is shocking. But Amrit, very, very, very glad that you could join us. Thank you. And our surname is spelled different. Hers is Valia, mine's V. Because when my father came to England many, many years ago, he made a mistake. And her father, my brother, being a proper person, what he did was he changed the name to W, whereas me being lazy, I kept it with a V. So that's why we are related, but that we have different surnames. Interesting well, not that interesting, but anyway, there's some stats for you. So Amrit, thanks for joining us. So Richard, what we understood was we grabbed their attention by telling them what the problem was. We then made it relevant to them by demonstrating interest. How is it relevant to you? This is how we generate interest. Now what we've got to do, Richard, is create desire. Now the desire would come from, if I'm an investor, the desire would come from, what is the business model? How are you going to make money? Then we move quickly from that to demonstrate credibility, Richard, because great, I like this, but why should I trust you with my grandchildren's money, my grandchildren's inheritance? What is it about you, Richard, that is going to deliver on this promise? And then finally, be very clear about the action. What is it you want me to do? There's nothing worse than watching a great advert and then saying, what was the advertising? That was a great advert. It made me laugh. But what was the product? What is the call to action? So be very clear with your call to action. Okay. So Richard, thank you very much indeed. Mackenzie, if I may pick on you, and if you're not comfortable, that's totally okay. That is totally okay. Mackenzie, would you be comfortable practicing a pitch? She switched her camera off, so I think that's a no.
I didn't mean to. I'm actually right at the beginning. I'm a very new entrepreneur, so I would rather not practice at this time. I'd like to get more experience, but thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
You are very, very welcome. Taylor Hasley, I see that look. I see the evil stroking. That is someone who's planning to take over the universe. You just need a cat, Taylor. You just need a cat. So Taylor, are you going to practice a presentation for us today?
Sure.
Great.
All right, I'm part of the Startup Junkie team, so it's going to be a Startup Junkie pitch.
Aren't we all? We are all part of Startup Junkie in Arkansas. Woohoo! By the way, did you know this? I am officially the Goodwill Ambassador for the state of Arkansas.
Oh,
that is
nice.
true. So there you go. So Taylor, let's go. Let's hear this pitch.
Yeah. So Startup Junkie, we are a mission-driven organization that exists to improve lives through innovation and entrepreneurship. We primarily do that through two facets.
Stop there, Taylor. Stop there. So straight away, why should I care about what you just said?
Hopefully, because you're a relevant audience member.
So that's brilliant. Great question, Taylor. Great challenge. Who's your audience that you're delivering this pitch to?
Entrepreneurs.
Okay, so Why would entrepreneurs like Mackenzie care at this stage that you are mission driven, that you're not for profit? Would she care at this stage in the first 30 seconds? Is that the most important thing to her?
Well, I was about to get to the point that it was free, which is free consulting is typically why people care.
No, Taylor, I'm going to challenge you on that. I think the reason why people care is that something is valuable, because money comes and goes. Money comes and goes, time doesn't. The most valuable resource Mackenzie has is time. Because the best thing somebody taught me, one of my mentors early on in my career taught me, the only thing that money can buy you is time. That's it. The only thing money can buy you is time. So it's not my money that I worry about, it's my time. So if you led with, at Startup Junkie, we have helped X number of entrepreneurs achieve their dreams, or something like that. Wow, bang, you've got me. Okay, I'm Mackenzie. I need to pay attention because I'm an entrepreneur just starting out on my journey. I need to pay attention to this. Whereas if we are a mission-driven, not-for-profit, and also I hate the word not-for-profit, because not-for-profit tells me what you are not. What you should do is we are a for-impact organization, because that's what Startup Junkie does, and your impact is massive. Whereas leading with what we are not, we are not-for-profit helping entrepreneurs make profit, seems a bit weird. It just seems a bit weird. So, but what you are is a very strong organization that has huge and tremendous impact in Northwest Arkansas. I know that firsthand. So I'm being harsh on you, Taylor, because you are with the home team.
I can take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. So let's start again. But now think about the audience. The audience is Mackenzie. And you've got 30 seconds to make sure that Mackenzie really wants to kind of be in on this.
Yeah, so Startup Junkie is a high-impact organization that has helped over 3,000 entrepreneurs achieve their dreams. We do this by offering free one-on-one consulting and events anywhere from companies that are at idea stage up to 25 million in revenue.
Beautiful. Now, Taylor, what I want you to do is not go with free. Just trust me on this. I'll tell you why. Build up the value, and then the twist in the story, the twist in the Pixar story, and it will cost you nothing.
Okay. Because
if somebody says, Amrit, I'm going to do something for free, straight away you're like, yeah, I bet it's not going to be great. If you tell the story, no, people have this association, rightly or wrongly, people have this association with free being low quality. And it's not free. There are other people and other organizations that are paying a great deal of money so that Startup Junkie can deliver these phenomenal, brilliant impact and meaningful programs. It just doesn't have to be Mackenzie who's paying for it. So what you can say is, and for you, Mackenzie, because of the generous support from our funders, it will cost you nothing. Rather than when you lead with it's free, you're really diminishing the value in what you're doing. Something should never be free. Free is always at the end. Oh, how much will it cost me? Because what you really want is to create that urgency and create delight by Mackenzie thinking, oh my God, I really want this, but I bet I can't afford it. I bet it's really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You, Mackenzie, it's free. Challenges, questions, open to discussion. It's that's just thought. Morgan, what do you think about what I just said?
I think that's great. Sometimes what I say is we're a nonprofit organization, which means we're funded by the SBA, the EDA, and some local, foundations or whatever I usually say, so that we can provide this caliber of consulting at no cost to you, rather than spend an hour and send you a $300 invoice. You'll never get an invoice from us. And then people are like, oh,
yeah.
so I put a dollar value on it sometimes.
Absolutely. One of the things you've got to always be careful of is not overselling, because people like Mackenzie, I think, and Mackenzie can speak for herself, she's on the call, people sometimes psychologically, people get, when people are being oversold, they get like, whoa, what's going on here? What's the catch? There is no catch. We get funded by organizations to help. And we've helped, and the credibility comes from, we have already helped 3,000 entrepreneurs. Now, if you wanted to build a 3-minute pitch, if you wanted to, you could go into the way we help entrepreneurs is through this, we do this, the onboarding process is this, it's quick and easy, and we deliver the help when you need it, at the time you need it, in a manner that you need it. We deliver it at the time you need it, in a manner you need it. Okay, so that's how you can build up a whole picture about how we do this. So I hope that's useful and instructive. to Taylor and Caleb and Morgan and Katie. And Mackenzie, how was the pitch for you? Was it resonating with you? Please don't say you had me at free. Please don't say that.
No, I thought what Morgan said about no cost to you was an excellent way to phrase that, because it emphasizes that there is cost involved, but it won't be for the entrepreneur personally.
Yes, because there is a cost, but someone else is paying. Beautiful, beautiful. Nothing is free. Nothing good is free other than air. Right? Nothing, well, try living without air.
Permjot, I have a question.
Please.
While we're talking about like costs associated with things, with Richard's pitch, if he's pitching to investors, then isn't their motivation most likely going to be to make money and not, I mean, I'm sure investors want to save lives, but why would he start with that being his unique value proposition? Like you can save 8,000 people die from lawnmower accidents, rather than people spend $8 million on lawnmowers every year and they're using the same antiquated solution that doesn't work effectively. Why would it not be some sort of like if he's pitching to investors, why would he not lead with like some sort of a monetary incentive rather than, I mean, I know that ideally they want to save lives, I'm sure, but they probably primarily are in that conversation because they're wanting to make some big money.
Morgan, really good challenge. A couple of great points there, if I may. These will be my responses. Firstly, here's the weird thing. Investors aren't driven to make money. They're already rich. Weird. It's weird. Investors do angel, and do you know why it's called angel investing? Does anybody know why it's called angel investing? People don't know the truth about this. No, people think angel investing is because it's good people. They want to help people like Richard. They want to help them grow. No, that's not true. The very first angel investors were people who invested in theater and Broadway shows, and they were guaranteed to lose their money, but they would get the reward in the afterlife. So you are literally investing to become an angel. So that recognizes the risk and the appetite for risk that angels have. Angels who've already made money are primarily wanting to make money by making the world a better place. Because if I'm looking at money making opportunities and I look at Richard's business idea and I think of all the risk profile of Richard's idea, the risk profile of other people's ideas, I'm thinking, I might as well just put some money on stocks and shares. I might just take my chances on Amazon or on, one of these stocks. No. I want to do something that is going to be fun. I'm going to be doing something that I can get involved with. And I want to be doing something which has a higher purpose. And that higher purpose is it saves lives. But the other thing is, Morgan, which is very important about saving lives, it tells me there is a drive. There's going to be a driver to sell Richard's product. Because if I go into there's $8 billion worth of lawnmowers being sold in the US alone every single year, that tells me weirdly that Richard is entering a very competitive marketplace with a value proposition that we don't actually know has been tested yet. Whereas if he leads with the existing market is killing people, X number of people a year, I have a solution to stop those lives being lost. And then and that's just to grab their attention. Then as you go to the desire and the credibility, you've got to show the business model, how you'll make money, the size of the market. So all those things you say, Morgan, are all relevant and needed. But I think you lead with what is going to drive people to say the world needs a new lawnmower. Because if you led with people every year spend $3 billion on water bottles. I have this new water bottle that is going to be great, and I'm going to tackle the $3 billion water bottle market. Straight away, you're thinking, that's a really difficult market to enter. How are you going to what's your point of difference? Whereas if I said something like, I don't know, the plastics typically in a water bottle pollute and actually kill us long term. It's recommended, believe it or not, that you shouldn't use a water bottle more than 172 times. I'm making all this up. Suddenly I'm leading with my point of difference, and actually the market's got it wrong. There's a new way we can do this with water bottles. Okay, does that answer your question, Morgan?
It does. I think that helps. I mean, when we consult with people, it sort of depends on, who their audience is. So your recommendation is to sort of find the humanitarian connection point in any product or service and lead with that regardless of the audience?
Yeah, people don't buy products. People buy the story that's attached to a product. I can look at all of the buying decisions you've made and attach it to. There is a story. There is something there. There is something there. It's interesting, fried chicken, as an example, Katie, I promise you I will move on from the fried chicken. But fried chicken to me has real strong memories of my family. When we were in North London, and Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they were called Kentucky Fried Chickens then, that when they opened up, I associated family time with KFCs. So it brings back loads of memories. So to me, fried chicken isn't about fried chicken. There's a story behind fried chicken. There's loads of stories that build up about everything, about the food we consume, the smell of laundry, the smell of detergents. There's loads and loads of, the number one reason why people choose laundry detergents is it's the laundry detergent their parents used. Number one reason. So it's interesting. So there's people are always looking for a connection. Emily has a question for me. Emily.
Yes, hi, thanks so much. Hello, this is Shanti, I'm Emily, and I'm actually joining as a screenwriter. I've been involved for a few months now, and I'm doing a lot of like networking and getting to know people and things. And yes, I'm just trying to learn more about like presenting myself, and then also the romantic comedy limited series that I'm working on. Yeah, so I guess if you have any advice and things.
So the advice would be, so what is the question?
Yeah, to present myself, since I don't have a physical product, more of like I'm marketing myself, and that I'm
Great.
I guess just when you're talking about your own self, or like the romantic comedy limited series that I'm working on, I guess it's kind of like maybe two different things. You want more chips, baby? Sure.
See, that's an ask. That was a good pitch. They have learned how to pitch straight to the point. I want chips. And they've got the response needed. So interesting. And Amrit, I know Amrit, you've just finished university, or you're in the process of finishing university, and you're going to be in the job market. So you have to do a lot of networking stuff. So initially, when you're going for jobs and stuff, and many of you may be in that position, it's all about how do I market myself? How do I do the networking? The one thing you don't do is you don't do what most people do with networking, which is you make statements about yourself and you say, this is what I do, this is what I do. You ask questions. You ask questions so that people have a conversation with you. Because the most powerful way to be remembered, the most powerful, effective way to do stuff is by having a conversation rather than making a series of statements. I don't remember people who meet me at a networking function and tell me that they work in banking, or they work in this, or they do this, or this is why I should have coffee with them. I don't remember them. I remember people who have conversations. So one of the things you could do is say, oh, what line of work are you in? And what do you do? So when you say script writers, you say, what was the last movie? So one of the things you could ask somebody is, oh, when somebody says, what was the last movie you saw? Da, 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 da. Oh my gosh, what did you like about that movie? Oh, because then you're evoking memories of a happy memory. Wow, I actually write scripts, and it's actually my dream to have somebody say what you just said. That is my ambition to, when I asked somebody, what was the last great movie you saw a great script from? I mean, there was a WandaVision. And I don't know if any of you have seen WandaVision. There was one line in WandaVision that what is grief but love persevering? What a line, what a line. And for you, Emily, to be able to be in a business that has that impact on people. Wow. Amrit, you are hoping to be a lawyer. And we have Angela Grayson, who's a great lawyer on the call as well. So Amrit, one of the things you might want to do is when you try to say to people you want to do corporate law, etc., you're in an extraordinarily competitive field, not made easy. You're very welcome, Emily. Not made easy by how competitive, the pandemic and how many people want to do the work. So what's important is to be memorable. And one of the ways, Emily, you can be memorable is by actually having conversations and engaging with people rather than telling them, I want to be a lawyer, I'm this, I've done 7 years of experience. You could ask something like, oh, you're a recruiter for a law firm, excellent. What are the characteristics that you've spotted make good lawyers? Da, 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 da. Wow, okay, that's really interesting. So would things like this and this and this be relevant to you? Yes, and are you high? And you're asking them, and they're tired because they've been at a networking event where 300 people are talking to them, like boom, 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 bombarding them with pitches, and I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm brilliant. You're having a conversation with them, and you're talking to them about what makes people successful, what is good, and then you're able to say, I'm really pleased you said that, because I think I have the skills you're looking for. If I wanted to pursue this further, who would be the right person to speak to? And I think you'll find that because you've had a conversation with them, they will remember you, and they're far more likely to say, I want to continue this pleasant experience. Whereas if somebody just badgers you for half an hour, talks to you non-stop, you're not likely to say, let's do it all over again because it's so much fun the first time. Okay. First impressions, they're called first impressions for a reason. They really, really, really matter. They really do matter. They really matter, a big deal. Are there any other questions? So Nadea, have I said that properly? Nadea?
Yeah, Nadia.
Nadia, my apologies, Nadia, my apologies. I'm used to seeing Nadia spelled differently. That's so interesting. I love the way people do spell names differently. So Nadia, what if you had a question, what would your question be?
Yeah, I was actually just typing you a question now, and then I was like, can't really figure out how to word it. But basically my question is, how can you get, depending on the person that you're talking to, you know, I think each of us has this sort of target user, but when you're talking to everybody and when you're pitching to everybody, they might not necessarily understand the industry, or they might not understand the different vocabulary and the different words. Like my startup is in healthcare, and so there's a lot of kind of terminology that I'd like to use, but I don't really know how to word it so that everybody can really understand exactly what I'm doing.
Great question, Nadia. Great question. So when you're selling something technical and you're doing something, and lawyers and healthcare workers and IT workers have the same kind of thing. Whereas Marina, who's doing a lifestyle thing, a beautiful kind of place, she creates places and events, magical places, magical events. It's different. But with you, Nadia, one of the things you've got to do is actually remember, if it's a first meeting, right? You don't go technical with the language. You do the technical stuff at the second, third, fourth meeting. Because one of the things that people always get confused by is, Nadia, I may not be the person you're pitching to, but I may know who the person you need to talk to is. So if you pitch your idea in such a complicated way that I didn't understand a word of it, you've missed out on the opportunity for me to become an ambassador for you. So what I would do is, if you're in healthcare, you can still say things in a very, very easy manner. Now with Richard, all of us have understood, I never knew this, but we now know that lawnmowers can actually kill people. Okay. Now I don't know how big the problem is. I don't know how pervasive it is. I don't know statistically how it compares to people who die toasting bread type thing. So I don't know, but suddenly I'm aware that there is an issue. And he's told me a solution. Now, what's really interesting is I just know enough about Richard I might be meeting somebody who says, yeah, I'm a lawyer and I'm actually defending a client against they're a lawnmower company and I'm just defending them. Oh my God, you need your client to meet Richard Nevels. Or I might be talking to another company and said, yeah, we're looking to how do we make our metal-based products safer. Oh, you need to talk to Richard. Oh, something to do with moving blades, lawnmowers, that suddenly I have all these areas where I can actually help Richard with connections. So Nadia, in a sentence, what is your healthcare idea?
So I'm building a digital health platform that connects patients who've been diagnosed with long-term and chronic health conditions like cancer or kidney disease or arthritis, just very chronic conditions, in helping them find complementary and integrative care. And so this is kind of the term that I always I fumble with because, yeah.
No, you're leading by describing what you do. And I'm really not interested in the fact that you're a digital platform or any of that. I'm just not interested. What I am interested in is, what do you know? What data do you have? What is your thesis? What is the thesis at the core of your business, that when people in long-term chronic care are matched with, who would they be matched with?
So they'd be matched with, I'll just say holistic, like a holistic practitioner.
Right. And when they are matched with holistic practitioners, does it lead to better outcomes? Does it lead to reduced levels of stress? Does it lead to better quality of life?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So what I would do is I would say right now, and I'm making these numbers up, right now in the USA, this very moment, over 25 million people are living with chronic illness and chronic fatigues. And their lives are debilitated by the approach is being used and by inability to connect and see the bigger picture. We are creating a platform that connects these chronically long-term ill people, that could be patients suffering from cancer, from kidney disease, with holistic practitioners that suit them in a way to create better outcomes and better quality of life. And we have the data to prove that this is what we do. I didn't use a single technical word then, but suddenly everybody understood what I did. And to Morgan's point about the money thing, I understand by the 25 million that, oh my gosh, this is a big potential market, or it'd be, I think it'd be more than 25 million. But Nadia, do you get what I'm trying to do? Which is, I don't want to lead with, I am a digital platform in the healthcare space. Straight away, I've used language that nobody resonates or connects with that, whereas they do connect with. Right now, there are X number of people with chronic health conditions whose lives are blighted by an inability to access the help they need when they need it in a way that suits them. I propose to change that through this app that will connect.
Yeah.
Right, do you see what? I hope that works for you.
Yeah, no, that does. That's really helpful.
And then at the second meeting, at the third meeting, you can go technical, you can go, so your objective with the first pitch, your objective, people always forget this, your objective is to get a meeting. I have never yet been to a pitch event where people put their hands up and say, I'll invest. You know, no, I've never been to that meeting. Has anybody here been to a meeting where somebody says, I'm investing? Put me down for $100,000. No, put me down for 250. Has anyone been to one of those meetings? Nope. Doesn't happen. It happens at the second, third, fourth meeting. So your objective with your first pitch is to get a meeting. And one of the things, Richard, one of the things that you've got to do, which I think you do, is you've got to come across as somebody that I'd want to spend time with. So, but if you do a sales pitch straight away by, did you know, ask those questions, I'm thinking, oh, the guy's great, he can sell, but I don't want to be the guy that he sells to. I want to have a conversation with Richard. That's where conversation versus selling is very, very, very powerful. Are there any other questions that people have? Any other questions from people who I can't see? Marina, if you had a question, what would your question be?
If I had a question, it's funny because I'm taking all of this in, and I think the wording, the first words out of your mouth are crucial. Because I think people's attention span is so short. And so I guess my question is, using terminology that people understand, is that a good thing when you come out of the gate? Like so I've been scribbling sort of what I think my pitch should be for the Halifax Lake House, for instance, right? And I mean, as you know, I've been in the hospitality industry for successfully for a couple decades. So I'm like, do I say something like, Maritimers are known for their hospitality, and so we're taking it to a whole new level. Does that?
So Marina, just 1 second. How many people here know what a maritimer is? Amir Azera, do you know what a maritimer is? Huh? Amir Azera, no. Amrit, do you know what a maritimer is?
Is it someone with ships related?
See, brilliant. Thank you, Amrit. Thank you. And Amrit is a very well-read, well-traveled person. She doesn't know what a maritimer is. Maritimer is a language you only understand if you're a Nova Scotian. Maritimer refers to people from the Maritimes, and the Maritimes are Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and so you know about PEI mussels in Arkansas. I've seen the restaurants with PEI mussels. That's where they come from, the Maritimes. So Prince Edward Island and the potatoes, the McCain chips come from the Maritimes. New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and PEI make up what's called the Maritimes, just so you know. But Marina, that's a really good test, so that if you are selling your message to people outside of the Maritimes, saying Maritimes are known for their hospitality, Amrit is like, fishermen are known for being friendly. I know they do Fisherman's Friends, but I thought that was a myth. I thought that was just the brand of the lozenge. And nobody, Katie, who's well-traveled, etc., doesn't know that Maritimes means. So that's a really good example. Straight away, we're using words that don't land with the audience because your audience is, by definition, outside of the Maritimes.
So if you were to say, you know, on the east coast of Canada, we're known for
Canadians, just Canadians.
Canadians?
Yeah, Canadian. Depending on who your audience is, Canadians.
Okay.
Yeah, East Canadians are known for not just their love of great food, but their very warm hospitality. East Canadians will always say, there isn't a person, there isn't a friend I've not made yet, or something like that. The world is made up of friends and people I haven't made friends yet, something like that. But you can lead with that rather than maritimers is actually jargon. You might not think it because we use it every day, but maritimers is jargon.
You know what's interesting is that's the first time I've heard East Canadians, and I like it. I mean, it describes where we are.
Yes.
In all of my years in this industry, I've never heard us referred to as East Canadians.
So one of the really interesting things I noticed about the difference between Canada and America is Canadians are never Canadians until they're outside of Canada. Americans are always American. It's really interesting. You speak to an American, it could be, unless they're from Texas, because then they're from Texas and everything is so much bigger in Texas. And, oh yes, we know your flag, your Capitol dome is as big as the dome on Capitol Hill. I know it was a concession and we haven't stopped hearing about it. But other than that, Americans are always Americans. Okay, wherever they are, they're Americans. Canadians are only Canadians when they're outside of Canada. So Canadians identify first and foremost with the province. I'm a Cape Bretainer, I'm a Nova Scotian, I'm a maritimer. Very rarely do we say we're Canadian. Oh, where are you from? Canada. No, it's where are you from? I'm Nova Scotian. That's why all of you are so horrible, because we're only hospitable to our own. So be very careful that there is this Canadian identity, and weirdly the Canada brand, like the Irish brand, Canada and Irish brands travel very well. I mean, I love that definition of the Irish can tell you to go to hell in such a way that you look forward to the trip. You know, it's that kind of, Canadians have that kind of brand, you know, so this is really interesting, Marina, that this is the first time you've probably done this with this kind of audience, and these are your target, this is your target audience, and they're all saying, you've lost me at maritimers, because Amrit probably has no intention whatsoever, as a Londoner born and bred, she has no intention of going on a hospitality cruise on a ship. And she might be thinking maritimes. No, I'll give this a miss. I'll give this a miss.
Permjot Emeriza has a question, has his hand raised.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey there, it's me here. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the tips. So I have this question. Maybe this is not really something new, but I've mostly been pitching to people, to the public, basically, to the public people. And most of the time it was in a format of a competition. So my audience is most of the time to public people. What I'm actually getting, it's not something recent, but what I'm getting is that they just started with somehow for the public to feel some kind of sympathy for whatever that you're doing or whatever that your idea is. It looks like that if you're just adding that sympathy to the starting point, you're kind of ahead by 5 points when you're starting your pitch. And it's not only for pitch, it's for the normal speech sometimes as well. So I was just going to ask if this is really a must, because to be frank, I really dislike this. And with this past 1 year, we've suffered a lot and I really don't like to add it, but is it really a must for an idea that, you know, has that attraction of sympathy to start with something sympathetical to the public?
Great question. No, it's not about sympathy, it's about empathy. And it's also about grabbing their attention and find a way. There are other very powerful ways of grabbing people's attention. So for example, one of the pitches I heard, which broke all the rules, was a guy called Enda McCarthy. I'll never forget, about 20 years ago in London. He gets on the stage, it was at one of these competitions, he gets on the stage and he's looking for investment money. And he says, could everybody stand up, please? So everybody stands up. Could those of you who are here supporting a company or representing a company, please sit down? If you're here as a sponsor or as a consultant or as an affiliate to this organization, thank you very much for coming. These events would not be possible without you. Would you please stand up and sit down? If you've not invested in a startup in the last 2 years, could you please sit down? If you are not attracted to the idea of investing in a company that helps you identify advertisers that are relevant to your audience, please sit down. There were 4 people left standing. He says, hi, my name is Enda McCarthy, and I run a startup that helps you identify who you should be speaking to. And I'd like to buy the 4 of you a drink in the interval. Thank you very much. Boom, gone. So he grabbed their attention. Okay, now the other thing I will tell you, Amireza?
Yeah, I go with Amir.
Amir.
Pretty easy.
The other thing I'll go with Amir. The other thing I'll say, Amir, is you've got to grab their attention in a way that moves them. And one of the things I notice about the sympathy thing is, I've talked about this and I make a joke about this. And you know, Carol Reeves has done this. Carol Reeves from the University of Arkansas has done this with me. We went to South Africa together. South African culture is they always start their pitches in exactly the same way. It's very odd. Every South African pitch starts the same way. South Africa has many problems. Unemployment, racial strife, huge disparities. But we have a solution. We can reduce the amount of lead in pencils by 7%. And the audience is like, what just happened? What just happened? It was a Winston Churchill style opening. And then it landed with that we're going to reduce lead in pencils by 7%. And every pitch starts the same way. So Amir, to your point, people then feel manipulated. If you're going to lead a sympathy, it has to be directly related to the solution you offer. So Nadia and Richard, their solutions are directly related to the problem that they've identified needs solving. And sometimes you can just talk about the money. I don't think Amazon could have ever pitched to anything other than the desire to consume. Now we are driven by 4 primary, where every successful product appeals either to knowledge or to the need to receive and give care, or to the need to consume, or to the ego. So these are 4 core driven. So what you've got to do is sometimes you've got to say, so Nadia's business is very clearly around the need to give and receive care. Okay. And she's got to really build that into appeal. So therefore, if she didn't do any level of empathy, sympathy, it would be weird. Now, Richard, we don't know what his pricing structure is. It might be that he can say you can buy these blades which are safer and cheaper for, for less of the price. So Amazon, Walmart, Intel, they clearly appeal to the consumption, to the gut. They clearly appeal to you can consume more for less or more for the same. Google clearly appeals to the knowledge. We can access information. Tesla clearly appeals to the ego. It's about being clear about that. And then in your pitch and your presentation, you've got to be consistent. And if your idea is not around sympathy, but something else, it can work as long as you make it a strong connection. As long as I identified that you know exactly. So Marina, her business, we'll do a little bit more with Marina now, but her business does not appeal to the consumption instinct or to the knowledge instinct, and it's going to be something. So Marina, do you want to start again but not use the word maritimes?
East Canadians are known for our hospitality, and we're taking it to a whole new level. That's the first line. We'd like to invite you to a one-of-a-kind experience you'll never forget. Only minutes from downtown Halifax, Nova Scotia, and the infamous Peggy's Cove. With 2 decades successful experience in the hospitality industry, we invite you for a tour of the new Halifax Lake House.
Okay, all right. So who's your pitch to? So let's work backwards. Who's your pitch to? What are you hoping the audience here does? Visit you, stay with you, take a tour to what purpose? What is it you're hoping to get from them?
For them to book an experience at the lake. Well, ideally, we want them to come for a tour so we can discuss customizing an experience for a group, like an incentive group of people, or a business group for a retreat.
Right. So the way I would do it is I would do something like this. The pandemic has left many people wondering if business travel, and Amir, to your point, I'm not using sympathy now. I'm not using sympathy because it's a different emotion I'm trying to tackle. But so it can work. But here's what I would do. The pandemic has left many business travelers wondering, will business travel ever resume? It's an open question. Nobody has the answers. Many people think it will return, but it will have to be different. At the heart of the new business travel will have to be customizable life experiences, experiences that are rich. Now, we are very lucky at the Lake House that we are in probably one of the friendliest parts of the world, East Canada, known for its great food, culture, and hospitality. We want to take it to the next level with over 20 years of experience of organizing great business travel, but the heart of it being the experience. We'd like you, if you're an organizer of events, to come and do a tour of the Lake House to see what I'm seeing in practice. My name is Marina Atwell, and I'm from the Halifax Lake House, and I'd love to have you visit us. So I didn't appeal to sympathy there, Mir, but I created a story around the business traveler and how we need to get back to creating at the heart of it an experience. Okay. What's the time? We have 5 minutes. So if there are...
I have a couple of questions in the chat I wanted to throw out to you real quick. Sumant had a question. He said, should we consider our competitors while pitching? And if yes, how do we cover that?
No, not at the first meeting.
And then Daimara also had a question. I'll let her ask.
Hi, my name is Daimara. Nice meeting you. I have a really life-changing wholesale retail bakery that trains and employs individuals on the autism spectrum. My question for you is, do you think that it's wise to use the same pitch technique to get more consumers and supporters to the nonprofit? Well, I know that you said not to use nonprofit, to support our bakery so that we can grow and be able to train and employ more cadets?
Absolutely, absolutely. But what you got to do is spell the story. One of the things you got to always work out is the first thing I said. The very first thing is, what is it that you want the audience to do? If you're doing a pitch, it has to be, I want the audience to do. Now, Amir, it could be that you want to vote for you. And then you got to think, do I have to be humorous? Do I have to be charismatic? Do I have to be entice their sympathy? What is it I have to do to make them like me and vote for me? With you, Daimara Baker, what I'd like you to do is really think through what is the actions I want them to take. And you're a great example of why I don't like not-for-profit, because you are absolutely for impact. You are for impact. The not-for-profit to me is a feature. It's not a benefit, it's a feature. The for impact is the benefit of what you do. You give great hope to people who have autism and other conditions, and you give them employment and you give them opportunities. And all of us know someone who suffers from autism. And all of us worry about what will happen to them afterwards. What will happen to them after, maybe if they're a child, what happens, number one concern for parents of autistic kids is what happens to them after we're gone. You do so much for that. So I think lead with what is the action you want them to take, and say, my frustration comes from not being able to help more. And the more people, the more customers we can have, the more every 27 loaves bought means I can employ somebody for a day. So every 27 loaves, somehow make it count that your 27 loaves is the same as a day's for someone to be on employment. Really help people to understand, the Pixar thing, make people know, make people very clear and understand what their job is. And if their job is if I want to employ people through your bakery, if I bought 27 loaves, that's one person employed for a day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but yes, absolutely. And you have different pitches depending on what it is you want the audience to do, because I've seen a lot of people use the same pitch again and again and again. And the hard thing, Amir, is especially if you're doing a year of competition, it's hard to stay fresh, hard to stay positive and energetic. When every time, here we go again, make it different every time, see what works. One of the most successful comedians in the UK is Jack D. And Jack D wasn't a very successful comedian. And he was on tour for ages, and he just gave up one day. And he gave up, and he thought, right, this is it. This is the last gig I'm ever going to do. So he goes on stage and he goes, hi, my name's Jack D, and I'm a comedian. And he was very unfunny. And suddenly the audience reacted to this unfunny approach to being a comedian. And then that became his act. Then he became very successful by just doing the, hi, yeah, I know what you're guessing. I am a comedian. I am the life and soul of a party. And people just found that really funny. And it just went from there because it was just like a Pixar thing. It perverted what you were expecting. So that's how he grabbed attention. There was this fabulous comedian. She was a little bit large, and her opening line was, she would go on stage and she goes, "Yes, I'm anorexic. Every time I look in the mirror, I see a large person." And it just made the audience think, is it okay to laugh at this? What just happened? I don't really feel comfortable laughing at anorexia, but that's actually quite funny. So it's a really weird thing when you just get the audience, and you've got to work out what is your job. What is it you need the audience to do? And you have to stay consistent with that job. Caleb, are there any more questions?
I see none in the chat.
Brilliant. So unless anybody has any other questions, because I do like to finish on time, I hope you've learned a little bit about how to do pitching, how to approach it. If you're interested in doing this in more detail, I will send Caleb some details on some workshops. Again, they are being paid for by someone else, so they're not free, but someone else is paying for them. But if you're interested, please do attend these workshops. The first one is about language. I think it's on the 7th of April. The second one is on the 14th of April, which is about Pixar and storytelling. So we build up, so it's a whole hour on those concepts. Happy to send Caleb the details, and if Caleb wants to circulate it, it's completely free. I'm lucky enough to work with Startup Junkie. They've been great friends and supporters of the work I do, and I love the work they do, and it's been great to see how much they're growing. So Amir, I just want to say thank you very much for taking part. Morgan, thank you. Always great to see new people who are joining at Startup Junkie. Casey, always a pleasure to see you. Always a pleasure to say hello to Corey for me, please.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you so much. I finally got to say I presented alongside a cowboy, so thank you. I really appreciate that. Caleb, thank you so much for organizing. Taylor, great to see you, and hopefully I'll see you soon in Arkansas. Marina, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, I'm sure, in the Lake House. Mackenzie L, thank you very much, and I hope I get to see you soon when I do get to see the pitch. Amrit, thank you for posting the jacket and the trainers to me, avoiding customs duties. Thank you very much for that, and I'll hopefully see you soon in London. I'll be there for your birthday on 8th of October, so I look forward to that. Nadia, thank you very much. Good luck with your healthcare application. Really great. Thank you for taking part. Emily, love the script writing. What you do is clearly very important. Thank you so much. Damara, yes, my son actually suffers from Asperger's, so I for personal reasons, I absolutely love what you do. Thank you much. Daniel, thank you for your contributions on the chat function. I really appreciate it. Carmen, loved you in the opera. I wish you did something new, but Carmen, thank you very much. Love the opera you do every year. Thank you. Bamarai, always good to see you. Hopefully you'll be here soon. Samant, thank you. Brenda, thank you. Alex, thank you. Angela, thank you. Didn't get to see you in person this time, but hopefully I'll see you at the next MentorCamp together. David and Kerry, thank you very much indeed. And on that note, I will say goodbye to all of you. Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.